Platycladus orientalis is the official scientific name given to me by humankind. More commonly, I'm known as the Chinese teacher. For all of humans' fascination with science and progress, I find it strange how easy it is to forget the fact that more than half of the true gene and human gene are the same. I am a part of you. You are a part of me. My earthly body has been inside the courtyard of a sacred Taoist temple for more than 2,000 years. In my life so far, I was on fire twice, the traces of which can be seen in the middle of my body, charred and barren, devoid of green. One time my branches were struck by lightning during a fierce thunderstorm, but the fire was quickly put out by the rain. The other time was about 60 human years ago, during the Cultural Revolution. A giant wasp nest was discovered somewhere in my torso. The Red Guards, who had taken over the temple at that time, decided to evict those wasps themselves. They tried to use smoke from a burning torch to repel the wasps, but the heat from the torch was too much for my arms, and I caught on fire again. I remember that it was a dry and sunny day, but immediately after the blaze broke out, a cluster of clouds formed seemingly out of nowhere, and rain poured. The fire was put out again. The burns were not the only things that were left by the Red Guards. If you look closely at the base of my trunk, you can just about recognize the shape of some human words, carved into my bark. Engravings. I know what was written on me, but those words are not legible to human eyes anymore. Most of the incisions have a placid quality to them now, smoothed out, flattened out by time, air, oxygen, sunlight, by growing and self-repairing, healing. But there is only so much I can do, however much time I've withstood, however much I was treated by miracles. Traces remain. Traces will always remain.
I'm not sure about that one. According to results I found on the internet, Thuja cream products can be used to heal abnormal human skin growth. I couldn't find any evidence that rubbing Thuja cream products on Thuja bark promotes Thuja bark's healing process. I also found these other Thuja products available to purchase on the internet.
Some 600 years ago, I was written into a botanical book along with hundreds of other plants for the first time. The book is called Ju Huang Ben Cao. It documented wild plants humans can eat to survive famines. Somewhat ironically, this manual was compiled by a prince of the Ming dynasty. Xu Huangben Cao started what is known now as the Esculentist movement. The movement lasted around 200 years, which saw extensive botanical research into emergency food plants. In this book, my leaves were recorded as having a mild but sweet taste. Perhaps this was the beginning of human separation from us, from trees. This summarization of beings into linguistics, which unavoidably mediates and dictates humans' perception of nature. Perhaps this was the beginning of the century-long forgetting of the myths and magic that used to be a part of me, that still is a part of me. I befriended the Xian of Future when I was 500 years old. He was known by his earthly name Tian Lun then. All 5 of Lun's older siblings passed away before they were 30, so when Lun reached his 25th year on Earth, he began to worry. Lun has long heard that the monks were practicing the art of immortality, so he traveled into the mountains for their teachings. When he arrived at the temple, Lun told his story to an elderly monk. Sensing Lun's sincerity, the monk pointed at me and said, "Look no further. This thuja tree is the elixir of longevity." Lun thanked him and gently picked some of my leaves to dry and grind into a powder. He started eating it every day without fail. A few months went by. Lun didn't feel any different apart from the occasional heatiness within his body. 2 years went by. Lun had been in a constant fever. 7 years went by. His body was burning up as if on fire, and no one dared to touch his skin. One day, Lun fell asleep after weeks of insomnia. His sleep lasted 3 days and 3 nights, and when he woke up, his family was shocked to find out that all the sores had disappeared from his body, and Lun's hair and beard had all turned green. Lun said when he was asleep, he was taken to meet all the gods and immortals since ancient times. When they saw Lun, they all said, "The Xian of Future is finally here." They taught him the art of immortality, and carved his name on a jade plate. The gods asked Lun to practice in the earthly world for a while, and told him that he'd be received back when there's a space in the ethereal realm. Lun led a reclusive life from them all for 300 years. He didn't show any sign of aging until one day he vanished from his home. Lun was nowhere to be found. All that was left was the scent of the thuja tree lingering on.
Human forest, prophet forest, corrupted forest, rotten forest. Intravenous strips of rot. Picked off, boiled down, bottled up to heal. To be made to heal. Industrialized distillation concentration. Calculations for the expulsion of water of impurities of the unwanted. The bothersome, messy bodies without value to the sterilized mechanical automation. To become the same, to become smooth, to blend and to disappear. Liquidized liquefy. Let go the fire of 1,000 trees now contained in a single vial.